Hey guys, welcome to my diminutive determiners. That's a little bit hard for me to say, sorry. And basically we learned back in video 13, Basic Grammar 1, we learned about determiners in that video. And what this video is to tell you is that there's other articles in Samoan, and these other articles are neither definite or specific, whichever one you prefer, or indefinite or non-specific, but they're diminutive. Okay, and what that means is they convey sympathy, affection, or they're a small measure or amount of something. Okay, so these determiners replace the other ones in the appropriate contexts, and they convey sympathy, affection, or a small measure or amount of something. And so I hope that with that description and some examples, it'll come a little bit more clear. So for singular nouns, the diminutive article for singular nouns is si, kind of like yes in Spanish, and the plural diminutive article is nai. And oftentimes you'll see the plural indefinite ni come before nai. So it'll be ni nai. And so here's some examples. I hope this makes sense. So the dear old man is ill. I'm throwing on, some affection here, sympathy. And the way that I do that is I say everything the same. I just replace the article that I would have used with si, because this is a singular person, a singular man. So ua mai si, and then toya ina is the old man. So ua mai is ill, si the dear, toya ina, old man. Okay, so finish the work while there's a little light left. So little here is describing a little or a small amount of something. So I'll say fa'auma lengalawenga, finish the work. A'o, while, ei, there is. Si, a small or little amount of light. Malamalama. So hopefully that helps. Some people came to the meeting. So again, we're talking about small amounts of something. So sa'o mai nai, that's where our small comes in. So came, sa'o mai, came, a plural amount of came. Nai, small or little or some. Tangata, people. To the meeting is ilelotu. All right, so moving on to the next one. Give me a few pencils. So again, we're talking about a small amount of something. So give is aumai, ni nai. This time I'm going to combine the two, ni nai, and then pencils is penitala, and hopefully you know that. Okay, moving on. So the diminutive article can also replace the article particle in possessive pronouns. So Sina is my dear little sister. Again, I'm showing some affection and that it's a small thing or item or person. So in this case, it's the sister. She's dear and little. So she's not only little, but she's you're showing affection towards her. And so Osina. So Sina. Let's mark that. So Sina, Osina. Oh, so this is one of those equative sentence structures. Sina is or Sina equals with the O, Sina, O. That second O, again, if you remember from the basic grammar video, acts as the is or are statement where there's no active or action verbs. And then dear little is used with CO. So, and the thing is the way that you would have translated this prior to this video, you would have just said lo'u te. And what I said in this sentence right here is that the article, particle, and possessive pronouns can be switched. So what I mean by that is I would have normally translated this sentence to lo'u. The article, particle in this possessive pronoun, mai, is lo'u, and the reason why it's the lay, the L is the article particle. The L comes from lay, and then you remember you just add on whichever pronoun that you need to be possessing. And so basically lay comes from, this L comes from lay, and this is what I'm talking about. You can switch the article part with these diminutive determiners, whether it's C or ni. And so that's why I'm getting rid of this L in this sentence, and I'm replacing it with C. So, and then let me erase that right there. So, Si'o'u replaces lo'u. So basically, this is a way that you can say my singular, and you're adding affection, or that it's small. In this case, both. In this case. So hopefully that makes sense why you switch those two things. I hope that made sense, and let's move on to the next sentence. Get rid of those as well. The mother loves her children, so e alofa le tina, I nai anafa now, and she's throwing affection. So in this case, the English translation really doesn't have an affectionate term in it, but we're throwing on that in the Samoan. If I wanted to, I could say, the mother loves her dear children, or her beautiful children, or whatever you wanted to. You would probably throw that in right in that location. So that's basically what I'm doing, is I'm just throwing in some affection that wasn't really seen there prior. So, okay, so moving on. I don't really have any examples, I don't have any practice sentences. What I have is discussion questions. So the difference is these are practice sentences that I want you to translate into English, but also after you translate them into English, I want you to respond. I want you to be able to start being able to respond and practice these skills. I know that you're probably tempted to just turn off the video right now, but I promise you that practicing is the only way that you're going to get better. And so you can do it now with me and the answers, or you can do it later when it's going to be a lot harder. And hopefully they speak English, but if they don't, then you're just not going to be able to respond. So I'm hoping that I'll throw in more of these practices where you can start to develop the skill of being able to understand as well as respond. You need to be able to do both in a foreign language. So I'm going to do the first, I'll do the first one with you, and then I want to spend the majority of the time maybe coming up with an example response. So pause the video, translate these. Actually, no, sorry, don't pause the video yet. I'm going to go over the first one with you. So, ilo lava manatu. So, ilo, so in your is what I think of when I say ilo. So this is an I, a capital I, if that's not, if you're not aware of that. So ilo is, in my opinion, that sounds like in your. And this is singular because of the L. And lava is just throwing on emphasis. So I don't really have a word to translate that yet. I haven't seen the context. And then manatu. So I'm just going to write ilo manatu. In your thoughts, in your opinion, that's the one that comes to mind when I read that. But if you wanted to, that really means think or thought. In your thought or in your opinion is how I would translate that. And then the next part would be, let's do I nai tangata. Let's translate that. And if you understand this sentence already, please jump forward. I'm just trying to translate this just in case. So I, that's normally going to translate is who. And then the nai we just learned about, and this is the plural diminutive determiner. So that means there's a plural amount preceding this. This kind of gives you an S at the end of whatever's coming next, as well as telling you that it's either small or affection towards something. And in this case, I'm thinking because tangata, I'm going to guess that it's going to refer to a small amount of people. It could also talk about people who are dear to you, but I haven't gotten to that point where I would know that. So oi nai, so these are like, this is going to be some or the few, and people because of if it was just Oi Tangata, if I took this out, it'd also just be people. But this nai kind of tells me a small amount of people, but it's also plural. So if I said, oh, I lay tangata, if I wrote lay right here, then it would be the person. But since it's nai, it's people. And if I also said si, if I said si right there, oh, I see tangata is who is the poor person or who is the little person. That would be another way of doing it singular. So who are some, or who's the small amount of people? So this would be people because nai is the plural diminutive determiner. So let's move on to the next part. And sorry, this is taking so long to erase all that. A toavalu. I haven't gotten to this part yet, but just know that the way that I describe, and we've talked about this before, but a toavalu, I haven't really put it in a video. The 8 people, the people 8. And I throw on an A right there in a lot of cases. There's other ways of doing that, but I'll get to that in another video. So we talked about the 8 people. And then sa asi asi. And I don't have enough room right there, so I'm going to say times 2. And if you ever get a text from someone in Samoan, they'll do this all the time. See this asi right here, and then they'll do a times 2. They'll say asi asi. I guess one less letter is fast, but in some long words they'll do that. So e toavalu sa asi asi, so 8 who visited, and then isi lo'omatua. Isi lo'omatua to the or the poor or the small or a single amount of something, and then lo'omatua. Lo'omatua is the old woman. So the poor old woman or the small old woman or the dear old woman, something like that. So that's translating that. So I encourage you to do the same thing on the other 3, and let's see the answers. So hopefully you got something similar. I obviously didn't do it literal translations. So who are those 8 people that visited the old woman? This one is the one that I kind of just said it the way that I would say it in English, is Oleale winga opili. And I said, what's up with Bill? That's kind of how you would say that. Oleale winga opili. The winga is the personality or the behavior or the character. So what's the character of Bill is it, and so what's up with Bill is kind of one way of saying that. Is he mad at his family? Pe ita o ia ilona ainga. But again, hopefully you got something similar to these. You don't have to get exactly what I wrote down, but hopefully you got the gist of what I wrote down. Now I want you to be able to write a response, okay? And so I'm just going to stick with the first one, and then you can work on the other ones. You need to be able to do this. So practice saying a response in English and then translating it into Samoan or vice versa. Hopefully you can get to that point where you start thinking in Samoan. So again, I'm going to stick with this first one. In your opinion, who are those 8 people that visited the old woman? So we're talking about this one. And I'm going to respond to that. So in your opinion, who are those 8 people who visited the old woman? So this is probably, granted, the easiest one. But I'll say something like Masalo, o, let's say ua, o, mai, nai, tangata, my, let's say, le malo. So first off, I hope you can understand what my response is. And if you can, then great, you're doing great. If not, then let's kind of go over this together. So masalo, perhaps, or maybe, is what that is. So maybe, ua o mai came those few people from the government. So this is a way that you could say from, and then le malo is the government. So hopefully you understood that, and if you didn't, that's okay, but now you have some more things. You have an example of how you could respond to that. And again, there's going to be a lot more examples. It's probably, maybe the people that she bought chocolate from, or I don't know. It'll be different based on what they looked like and how many there were. So, what's the reason those people visited her? O lea le pongai or le mafuanga na asiasiai na tangata yata ia. So let's say you do know, and you could give a response. Again, if you can do this on your own, the video's long over. But if you're having a hard time, this is why I'm sticking around. So, what is the reason those people visited her? So you could say a lot of different things. I'm trying to think of something right now. Sorry. So I'm going to say something like, ua o mai I lato. So hopefully you can understand what I've said so far. E fo ia le finaunga mo le whanua. So hopefully you understand this. This is a little bit more complicated than I was hoping for, but I added the government, and I didn't really think of anything better than something a little complicated. But so just came them. So they just came a foia to resolve the finaunga, the dispute or the argument for the land, mole whanua. So hopefully that helped. Moving on, let's try to speed up a little bit. I'm trying to keep these videos down a little bit. So what's up with Bill? Is he mad at his family? So I'm going to say something like, sa, let me get my pen, sa, fa'a, sala, lona, tama, ona, le, faya, ia, lona, fe, au, ananafi. So hopefully you understood what I said, and if you didn't, so I said punished his dad. So his dad punished I need to add in a pronoun right here. Sorry about that. So I need to add in o ia. So safa sala lona tama o ia. So this comes next. So his dad punished him because not did or not done or didn't do his chores or errands yesterday. So sorry for that. So it goes there, and then the second part I'll underline in blue. So sa fa'asala lona tamao ia ona le faia ia lona feao ona nafi. So hopefully that makes sense. Sorry, I forgot to throw in on the oia. Let's move on. I should be able to just... Nope, can't do that. Sorry. Let's do the last one real quick. Hopefully, if you're still along, I hope this is helping you out. Have you visited an older person before? What are some thoughts you have for that? This is kind of a random question. You could just say, Le'ai, I haven't visited an older person. I o te fia asi lo'o. I'm going to just say for space sake, I'm going to say grandma. And the way that I would translate grandma is letina ala otina. So olo grandma or olo tina iseaso or Samoan or something like that. So that's the first part of it. I would say fia asi lo grandma or lo tina Samoa, and you can do the last question on your own. So hopefully this helped, guys. Until next time, tofa soifua.